coach a one-game playoff.
Yeah,
Get into the playoffs.
I'm not going to give Clint any advice, that's for sure. But I was watching some of the baseball games we were talking yesterday, and how it does come down to, well, for some teams right now, it's coming down to the 162nd game. You know, it's incredible. So it's going to be interesting to see. And then everything, all our supports in Pittsburgh here this week as they head into that battle. Hopefully they've got home field advantage.
Michael, how do you impress upon your guys who are on third and fourth lines that they're not necessarily expected to behave like traditional third and fourth lines?
Well, a lot of times traditional third and fourth lines, you're looking at a mixture. Third line, people often refer to them as a defensive line. Fourth line, you look at them as being an energy line. We have a little bit of a blend on our lines, so I think that the guys can certainly move up and down in our lineup. We've got players that can do that. That's a great flexibility to have as a coach. And then the second part of that is, I think now with the depth in our lineup, our fourth line, third, fourth line, however you want to call it, they can score. There's a couple of penalty killers there. So there is a blend of players. It's not just a traditional look.
I want to ask you about your defensemen. Is there a temptation, Matt and Letang, is there a temptation to play them overplay them, play them over 30 minutes a game or something? Do you have to fight that just because they're so successful?
Well, your key players, Mata's still coming along right now. He's still a young guy who had a break in his season last year a couple of times, and then so he's just going to get back into his rhythm. But a guy like Letang, certainly he's a guy you can turn to for a lot of minutes. Anybody on your team that plays on the power play, kills penalties, and is a regular player is going to get a lot of minutes. Those are the guys that cross over those three areas. They're going to get a lot of minutes. So your forwards in those three categories are probably going to push 18 to 20 minutes. Your defense in those areas, we don't have a lot of them, but Madeline and Tang are two of them. They could push in the 20s, and then Chris can, on a given night, play even 30 if we need him to.
Coach, are you going to mix and match a lot over the next few days with those deep pairs? You're going to try to have a few pairs work together going into.
We're trying to get pairs settled in, and sometimes when you look at practice, though, depending on how we're running the drills, if we've got a power play going at certain times in practice, you'll see guys with different jerseys on or the penalty kill. But we like to get pairs working together right now.
You were working on 3-on-3 play earlier.
Yeah.
How much does the fact that the benches are on the far end now impact things?
It really impacts. You've heard a lot of coaches talk about 3-on-3 changes, and for me, that's critical. You're going to see players on a 3-on-3 situation maybe even just throw the puck back to their goaltender, their defenseman, and then they regroup together and they come with some speed. But today we're working on 3-on-3. We have a checklist of things that we want to cover in 3-on-3, and it gave us some time with the fans here today. I thought it'd be a little bit of entertainment value for them, but also for us to cover off on those things. So we had two coaches, one on each bench, just going over how we wanted to play it. Now, the guys were good. They adapted well. And the other thing, it gave us as coaches a chance to watch a little bit longer, some more 3-on-3 action, just to see if there's any other things we want to tweak in it.
Mike, Daniel seems like a pretty cerebral guy for an 18-year-old, pretty smart player. Why does he fit this opportunity right now? How would you describe his demeanor, I guess?
Yeah, it was interesting when we told him that he was staying with us yesterday. He was very calm, controlled. He didn't jump out of his seat. At the end of it, I think it really hit him that, hey, I'm here right now. I'm a player on this team. But what he's done in camp that impresses me is he's come into camp to earn a spot. And he didn't come into camp for an experience. And if you talk to him, I think he said it was the very first game he played. He felt comfortable. He felt comfortable in the game. He knew there weren't a lot of NHL players on both teams, but he started to feel comfortable. And he said to himself, geez, I have a chance here. If I play like this, I think I have a chance. And he kept building every game. I just like his take-charge attitude on the ice. He wasn't afraid to make a mistake. He took charge of the puck. He took charge of situations. And so that's why he's here right now. He can help us.
You still feeling good about using your stars to kill penalties? And if they do, what are some of the things you'd like them to do with their offensive talent? And what are some things you want to be cognizant of in terms of the defensive part of killing penalties?
Well, today was a real penalty kill detail day. And we're using more players on the penalty kill this year than we did last year because we've transitioned some penalty killers that aren't here. So we need more depth. We're going to be using different players. You saw it today. I thought Gino was really good on the kill in preseason. Sid killed last year, so he's had experience on it. But Gino, he's so rangy when he's out there. The key thing we're going over is just the details of the kill. On the penalty kill, you have to be so detailed. Because obviously the other team has the advantage, so there's certain things that you have to do against teams. So it's preparation, it's details. and to make sure that the guys were walking through that today. It was more of a early day walkthrough that we did the first 20 minutes just to get it down, every single part of our penalty kill, and then now we'll start to build on it.
What about that blocking shots thing for starters?
Everybody, if you're going to kill penalties, you have to do those things. You have to block shots, you have to be stop and start in the zone, you have to be quick with your angles, up ice. Those are all part of it, and players that do that will kill, and the guys who don't do it won't kill. That's how we'll decide.
Do you leave it up to the athlete, whether or not they're wearing the skate guards?
For games? Yeah, and we've talked a little bit about that. It's a good question because I know quite a few teams are talking about that with players getting blocked by shots. The technology is improved to make those lighter and better for the players. We're encouraging more of our guys to try them. It is an individual preference now. It's not something we've legislated, but we're going to try and push more players in that direction. Especially now they're light and they're easy to put on your skates. So we'll see how it goes with players, but I'd like them to wear it.
It's funny, sometimes that's just about whether or not it's cool.
Yeah, a little bit, but players are very finicky, as Bob probably knows. Over the years, you know, different types of equipment have come in. Players are kind of resistant if they haven't used it before. They're kind of resistant to change, whether it's shoulder pads or shin pads, or if you're talking about guards for your skates. But now, if you're killing penalties, you're blocking shots, you're in lanes, you get hit on the foot, you know, that can mean the difference of 4 to 6 weeks.
What'd you see in Farnham, despite such an abbreviated camp?
Yeah, because he did have an abbreviated camp, it was good we knew him. We knew him from last year. So Farns is a guy that we have a pretty good book on. We know he's an energy player. We know what he brings to the table, so we know how to use him in situations with our team. He can also kill penalties and provide that energy on the penalty kill. So with him, we're just trying to lock down some more details on the penalty kill that he wasn't aware of because he didn't kill with us last year. Thanks.
Thank you.